If you look at the statistics from NCM yesterday, they registered 10,000 service providers. And I think some of the early steps that has to be done, the first is what we're doing now. Increasing the awareness about the industry to the Namibians. Try to organize what we call opportunity fairs, whereby you look at the various projects, you negotiate right from the beginning of a project, the local content plan, what part of the project will be domesticated, which part of the project will require alliance, and then you try to see that through. That way you will help, because it has to be a concentric effort. You have to help to create a critical mass. Both that I spoke about, all the stakeholders working together to increase the local content. So that deliberate efforts, get the opportunities available in those contracts, look at the timeline. In fact, if you go to Mozambique, the Total LNG project, the regulator were able to extract the opportunities, the differential scopes, the timeline, and rough estimates of the contract value. So that encouraged more and more people to plan ahead. So this what I'm saying is that it's important to create a critical mass. And you see all the ancillary effects. Wabish Bay is the operational base. By the time activities are building up, you see restaurants, you see hotels, you see hospitals, better healthcare services, you see more flights. So basically, I think people used to make a mistake of just looking at the crude oil value, the extractions, the few guys working in the IOCs. But you are forgetting that it's a business driver. It has multiplier effects. And the beauty is that majority of the money coming into Namibia are non-Namibia money. It's not from the regular exports or uranium or other resources. It's coming from people making a final investment decision. And once they put it there, it's there for the next 40, 50 years. You build an LPS so you can't take it away. It will keep on producing. So I think we can start looking at it from that perspective. And then make concentric efforts on how do we get involved. The training certifications, getting more and more people, creating new class. More income, much purchasing power. You can buy more things around, spread the money around, more support services, more logistics. So that will bring a lot of adverse effects. I told you yesterday, you go to Uganda today, you see skyscrapers all over the place, massive structures. And you'll be wondering, where is this money coming from? Obviously, it's coming from, some of the money coming from projects, residential structures. So the real estate, that's the whole person. And not only that, if you look at the Uganda, along the Chilenga, the Eco pipeline, each of the ministry made concentric efforts. Agriculture. How do we produce food to feed through that project? Where you have 5,000, 10,000 people working in the field. Where do we get the water? Where do we get the healthcare services? Women ministry. How do we get the women to get involved? What are the programs? What will the women do in the cooperatives to make money from the industry? You talk about the ICT as well. The broadband. They look at the hospital. How do we have enough hospitals on those chains? The schools. What investment do they need to put? So basically, what I'm saying is that there are new models now which we never had. So when I go to Uganda and a conference like this, I see like 8 different ministers, small-scale industries, agriculture, women, health, all looking at how much money they will pay for the Chilenga project. So if we start looking at that from that perspective, the effect that we want to see the combined effect. Thank you. Yeah. You typically have, people live in comfort zones. And if I'm here, I have a car and have air conditioner repair for 3, 4, 5, 10 years. And I move to another town and I have a problem with my car. The first thing that will occur to me is think about the guy 2 hours away, even if there's somebody in front of me that can do the work. So typically you have issues on, can the local companies do the work? Do they have the capacity? Would they be cost effective, over time? And I think basically what we have done is carry the engagement to the operators, show our capabilities, show our experiences, get the confidence that we can do the work, rather than waiting for legislation or for the government to say, give them the work. And of course, when you're going to do that, you have to show what you have put on ground. Do you have the facilities? Do you have equipment? Do you have the competent people to do the work? So you can put all those mixes together. It's making it easier. In fact, there was a year on Zaba that we actually engaged the FPSO, the 3 key ones, Umiamada, BW, and I don't know what. We sat down with them and said, look, these are the jobs in the top sides. These are our capabilities. Let's look at, just like what you did, let's look at this as a job that can be done between 0 to 3 years, beyond 3 years. So there is that agreement between we and the operators, and we will show them the empirical evidences that we can do. So, you have to show that you can do it. If you cannot do it, have a partnership that have the track record to do it. Then that will convince them that they have to do that. Now, regarding the service association, we need, there are different approaches. There are current service providers in Namibia. We need to profile the database and look at those who are in the core industry. Look at those who are ready, who has quality. So that means basically you need to put some parameters in place and use that to try and have an effective association. Now let me give you, we're working with Ghana and Uganda to reorganize our association. Because being landlocked, the very first, and then being offshore, the very first opportunities available will be logistics. Either from the vessel, marine vessels, or from Mombasa or Dar es Salaam into truck owners. So the early association members are mostly logistics people, including clearing agents, freight forwarders. And now that the other activities is coming up, so fine. What did you do is, even within logistics, setting parameters. Do you have trucks? Do you have different equipment? Do you have warehouse capacities? Or you're just briefcase clearing agent? So basically, you can use that to sift them and then create about 3 or 4 or 5 different technology groups. Fabrication, facilities, well services, even if you don't have, or create the shells. And then gradually, so in the same way, I expect, and we will work, if I had little discussions with somebody today, I said, we will support. And see how we can support to create the association. I mean, we work with Senegal. You know, we understand each other. They set up the company, and we're trying to see how they can grow it. We work with Mozambique, you know, and try to see how they can build a proper association. Because once you have that, you have a group of people with a common purpose. We lobby, we sit down, review the amendments to the law. If it's not beneficial to us, the local service providers, we create our own propositions, we meet the assembly, we publicize it. So bring advocacy. So basically, we also try to share knowledge, share training, and share exposure. So the same thing we have to do in Namibia.
Thank you.